Hello, it is now 7 p.m. I'm Daryl Query,
And I am Delina Johnson.
and a warm welcome to all of you to this week's 68th edition of Community Conversations.
Earlier this week, we observed the 4th of July. And while to many of us it meant a time to salute those who put our country first, the significance to others varies, as you will see in this video.
Now, let's just check in the studio to make sure that goes up. Or 4th of July playback.
What did the 4th of July bring? Liberty.
It's a day when we independent from Britain.
It was the day that presidents got born.
Because it's Independence Day, and that's when the Declaration of Independence was written.
Fireworks.
Anything else?
Eating hot dogs. I don't know. I kind of forgot. It's America's birthday. Not really. He lived in the White House, and he helped the war.
Made boss people around.
He
Probably what all the other presidents do.
I did like fly to Disney World every day. Probably eat lots of treats and all my favorite food.
No punishment for mom and dad.
Play with my stuffed animals. I can make slime.
You can play Xbox on the weekdays. I don't know, they put like a bomb in there and then they like launch it and it explodes.
They're like, doing kaboom, doing kaboom, doing kaboom. That would be kind of like a scary job. So first you have to light something on fire, put it on the rocket, like put it in a launcher and boing. Or if you just throw it, you might actually like hold the rope and get on fire and get burned.
They pop up in the sky.
Are they loud?
Yeah,
How loud?
very loud.
I see rocket ships on my nighttime because some fireworks have 5 rocket ships. They blast in the sky and they're colorful.
What
And they're very loud. Blue and red and purple and pink and red. I don't know.
Favorite thing about America that's hot.
Like has lots of cities and lots of food and lots of people and all friends and houses and all of that. And we live in it. That we can go places.
I don't know. Yeah, I like America's food.
Like my blue is green, red, white. Because that's my favorite color. There's 13 stars and 13 stripes.
How many stars are on our American flag?
15 for every 15 state. Red.
There is red stripes and white stripes and white stars and blue. There's a corner in the top and it's blue with 50 stars, and then the rest is red and white stripes for the 13 colonies. We either go to my grandma's cabin and we do a parade. They have like one of the best fireworks, and we're on the beach and they're like, we sit right the front rows and stuff to see the fireworks and playing the brass.
Glow sticks. we went to my grandma's house, and we had the whole entire list to find, and we had to mark off what we found already.
Eat hot dogs, fireworks, go outside, lay on the glass sometimes, hang out on the couch sometimes, and just watch 4th of July movies.
We have like star sunglasses and like striped clothes, and we decorated our bike and our golf cart, and we drive around and we walk around, and our bikes were like covered in like confetti a little bit.
I love America!
The White House 6. Why can't I have a cool name? I changed it into Deluxe One. Yeah.
So that was a beautiful little assessment of the 4th of July. I also think it's very important to go over the history of the holiday, even though the kids are youthful, but to just go over the good and the bad and just to appreciate, where this country has gotten to so far. So on the note of kids, we're going to do a recap of summer camp with Coach Delina. How is camp going so far?
Camp is honestly really fun. Today, it was like a nice laid back kind of day. But I'll start with Tuesday. So on Tuesday, we actually did a lot of activities, and we went golfing on Wednesday, which is a nice little field trip for the kids. They learned how to drive. They did like a putt. They did like a lot of things, and they were actually really interested. They did pretty good. Some of them didn't get in the hole exactly, but pretty close. And yesterday we went to the Port of Palm Beach actually, and the kids, they saw like where the sugar was made. They learned about like NASA and the different things with Wendy's and French fries, and they learned like things like where it comes from, and things like that. So yeah.
I just love all the activities that they do because it seems as if they, diversify each time, having the fishing and then golf. That's cool.
Yes. They get
So,
something from every like aspect, fishing, golf, different
yeah.
things every time.
Is this your first time coaching for summer camp, or is it like a regular thing that you do?
Yes, it is my first time coaching for summer camp. The other times I've just been a camper.
What's the major difference for the viewers tonight, if you can think of?
The major difference is the leadership role. I feel like as a coach, you have to delegate more often. You have to make sure like the communication is up to par. Everybody knows what is going on and things like that. And as a camper, it's just, you're participating. You're not really getting to like experience those leadership roles as opposed to a counselor.
Perfect. And on the note of that, we're going to have one of your campers here with us, Ariana. Let's see if we can get her in. To just move forward, is Ariana here with us to get her
Yes,
into the
she's
main
here.
feed? All right, perfect. I'll let you to it, Delina.
Hi.
Okay. Hi, Ariana. How's it going?
Good.
Okay. So how do you think camp is? Like, what is your opinion on it?
I feel like camp is really fun, and I learned a lot of things that I haven't learned in other camps, and I've had really fun over the last 4 weeks while going on to the 4th week of camp. And I like meeting new friends and talking with some of the counselors, like Delina, Jasmine, and it's really fun. So
That is wonderful. What are some of the coolest things that you've done this week?
went to the Port of Palm Beach and learned where some of the people's food come from, and knowing the pledge that I didn't know before, and just being
All right, continue.
able to associate with a lot of people.
And what do you think the coolest thing that you've done in camp is?
I think like maybe the brain boat, even though I don't really like it as much, but I like how we have to read it and we have to memorize it and we have to know where different people come from and different businesses and where Mr. Ron, Mr. C. Ron started off helping kids at. So that's what I like.
And you guys played a Kahoot. Did you like that?
Yes.
Anything else that you'd like to tell us about camp?
It's very fun. I like to hang out around the counselors a lot, and I like the milk there also. So yeah.
Okay. So each day we end the day with an affirmation. We begin the day with the camp pledge and end with the affirmation. There's a contest to see who could do the best job reciting the Camp Quest pledge, and Ariana was one of the winners. Ariana, would you do the pledge for us, please?
Yes, this is the camp. Hi, my name is Ariana. This is the Camp Quest pledge. I pledge allegiance to myself and who I want to be, because I can make my dreams come true if I believe in me. I pledge to stay in school and learn all I need to know to make the world a better place for kids like me to grow. I promise to make my dreams come true and be all I can be. That's because I pledge to stay drug, tobacco, alcohol, and sex free.
Good job, Ariana.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was amazing. It's great to have you guys come with us so far. It certainly sounds like it was a fun and innovative camp, and it's nice to see how collective the pledge has been. So thank you all for your insight so far. Thank you, Ariana, specifically for coming on tonight and giving us your breakdown of everything. Have a great one.
Thank you.
So 3 weeks down and 4 more to go. Best of wishes this coming week.
Thank you. If you see the golf cart whizzing around town, just know that the librarians are not heading out to the links. They're reading material to the local parks. As part of its Summer Reading Leadership Academy, the library is on a mission to recruit readers to encourage and invigorate healthy minds and bodies. We have some video from the recent kickoff program at Catherine Strong Park.
Some of the things that librarians do, we've been called first restorers, not responders. We have our police and our fire for that. But we're first restorers after disasters. If you think about hurricanes, economic downturns, wars, and now a pandemic. We're committed to reaching out in unique ways to restore community to our existing library family and to extend our resources, books, technology, and know-how to new individuals and welcome them into our library community.
Today is an exciting day because we are launching our Library on the Go golf cart. And I'd like to thank the Pat Moran Family Foundation for generously donating the funds for this special project.
This is extremely innovative, and it's very exciting to bring learning directly to the children in their home.
Really does take a village to help support our kids and get them to learn and engage in the community. And this year has been exceptionally tough on all the educators and the librarians, and especially the students. I see this golf cart as our mobile branch library. We can take the cart on the road and delve directly into the neighborhoods, learn about people's educational and cultural needs, and respond in smart, creative, compassionate ways.
As a mom, I really appreciate the value of reading and what books do to open doors for children. As a city commissioner, I really appreciate a knowledgeable constituent. And as a resident of this city, we are so innovative. And this is just one great example of the innovation in Delray Beach. So I thank you. Thank you to the library. And thank you to all the partners for what you're doing here for our children.
We change lives one person at a time.
Beautiful to see now that the books have gone mobile. Moving forward, congratulations to our very own Renaissance man, Neil Sunskin Neil Noel, whose photographs were featured in the South Florida Sun Sentinel this week. The 3 pictures shot by Neil accompanied a story on a fishing trip organized by KOP and the Delray Beach Department police department, sorry, last month. To see more of Neil's work or to hire him for a gig, visit this site at Neil's Creations with the Z instead of the S.com or call us at 561-665-0151 and we'll put you in touch with him.
Hey friends, do us a favor please. We need all of your musical instruments that are just lying around the house and sitting there collecting dust. Help us put those instruments in the hands of some elementary school student. It does not matter the condition. Remember, what's one man's junk can be a treasure to a child who has an interest in the arts. Please call or text 561-665-0151 at your earliest convenience for more information.
A warm welcome to our friends who are joining us on KOP Mentor Networks or Boca Raton Tribune's Facebook pages or on YouTube. As usual, shout out to our friends in the Bahamas, Belize, Canada, Jamaica, Japan, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, the UK, and the US Virgin Islands. Please remember to share community conversations on your social media pages. If you've missed a show, you can find it on Boca Raton Tribune or KOP Mentor Network's Facebook pages. Do us a favor and follow KOPMN on Facebook, please, and like for more.
Here at KOP, we believe that leadership training prepares you to manage your time, work in a team setting, set goals, start conversations, facilitate meetings, and make effective presentations, all of which are positive life skills that they will carry into adulthood. Please direct your attention to our friend, Mr. John Maxwell, for our Leadership Minute.
Hi, John Maxwell here. The word today on Minute with Maxwell is genius. I have no idea why they gave me that word. I mean, come on. When you think of genius, I think of people a lot smarter than me. Because my father was in education, I happen to know what my IQ is, and it's good, but it's certainly not genius. When I would look at the real smart kids in class, I'd say, wow, I don't think I'm ever going to get there. And I never will. But what I did decide was this. Although I'm not the smartest kid in the room, perhaps I can be the most intentional kid in the world. And what that really means is that I'm going to make my moments count, and I'm going to have an agenda, and I'm going to pursue it, and I'm going to follow through, and I'm going to finish it. And I found out that the most successful people in the life are not necessarily the smartest, but they are the ones who live intentional. So I didn't do a very good job with the word genius today. I know that, but you got to give me a break. Every day you watch Minute with Maxwell, and usually I'm pretty good, but genius, it's just a little out of my reach. So I can just hope to someday tell you a little bit more about it. But today, I fall a little short. Glad you're with us today on Minute with Maxwell.
Tonight's program is produced by Jonaldina Bazoo, a recent graduate of Atlantic Community High School and a member of the Millbury College class of 2025. As usual, the genius behind those videos you're seeing tonight is our illustrious cinematographer and Sun Sentinel feature, Neil Sunsky Neil Noel, a proud product of KOP Mentor Network and the Village Academy. Jasmine Collins, a junior at Florida State University and our camp assistant director, has been doing a great job as our social media intern. Check out our social media pages to see more of Jasmine's fine work.
And we leave this segment with a brilliant rendition of some camp questions during the affirmation.
Go to college.
I will succeed.
This is my promise.
This is my
That was wonderful.
I forgot how short it is sometimes. Okay, so going into our last part of the segment, or the latter sections, we're going to go into our anticipated part of the program with Mr. John and Mr. Siron. So let's bring them in now.
Brother John, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going, good brother?
Like I always say, there's a method to my madness. Neil, why don't you play that affirmation back for me? Since I promised J Man I was going to wear his favorite glasses tonight, and he's not here, so let's go ahead and play that again. J Man is the Jaleel, that's my man, and yep, there he
This is
is.
my promise. This is my.
Way to go. So you know what? There he is. Thank you, Neil. Hey, since he's not here, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. He missed out. So what's going on, brother man?
Man, made it through another week. It's a blessing. It's a blessing, good brother.
Yeah, man. What a week. What a week. I'm telling you, man, it's been just been one of those weeks, man. One of those weeks. You know, there've been so much, John, so much been in the news, man. Shoot, man. We could start the entire segment talking just about sports alone. You know, speaking about sports. Sister girl Shakari Richardson. Sister will have to watch the Olympics just like you and me. Hey, from where? Her
On my
sofa.
couch, on my sofa.
What do you
Absolutely.
think? What do you think of that, man? What's your take on that?
And it's difficult, good brother. I will say, just in general, for Shakari, I mean, it is
Yeah.
worth noting that uh, it was a banned substance per
Yes.
the Olympic Committee, and as a athlete, she was aware of that. I know her agent and the rest of her team that's around her knew that it was a banned substance. And so, the question is, should it be a banned substance? And so that's a whole nother discussion.
That's the discussion. I'm a,
As we
I'm a,
see,
I'm a get into that tonight. So
as we see, and I know what you highlight on a little bit later is just as far as cannabis and kind of
yeah,
worldwide. So not just America, but how it's been decriminalized. And so the fact that she's not going to be able to race in the Olympics due to a little bit of weed is unfortunate, and it's and it kind of reminds me of my position, and so sometimes there are bad rules,
yep,
but and so whether or not the rules should be changed is definitely something that I hope that everybody looks at. But sometimes, although it's a bad rule, you still have to enforce that rule. And so that's just a classic case of it's a bad rule, it should be changed, but right now that's the rule in the books, and she violated the rule that's currently on the books, and so that's the consequence sister girl's gonna have to face. And so more importantly, I just pray for her mental health
yeah.
and well-being, and that she'll be ready to go in 3 years for the next Olympics that's hopefully going to be on schedule in 2024.
John, I agree with you wholeheartedly, bro. I share the sentiments, but since we're all about ratings and we're trying to get Nielsen and Arbitron and all those, I'm gonna be the devil's advocate tonight. If these jokers were afraid of this young woman smoking the brakes off someone, why not go ahead and say that, instead of her, for nailing her for using marijuana, $1 billion industry at this point. It is ridiculous, stupid. I see where everybody's, everybody's trying to turn this into a Black Americans versus everybody issue, but that's a topic for another day I'm going to touch on. But deep down, for those who are not tuned in, let me put things in context. On Friday of last Friday, an American sprinter, Shakira Richardson, was barred from competing in her signature Olympic event, which is the women's 100-meter dash. Now, sister girl's infraction, guess what? Tested positive for THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, the psycho, what is it, psychoactive um, compound that's in cannabis or in weed. All right. Now, John, here's an interesting fact, and I know, Miss W, I know what you're out there saying, but let me just say this. Although Sister Girl's drug test was obtained in Oregon, where Olympic trials were held, and where recreational weed among adult use is legal. World anti what's the proper name? The doping industry, the anti-doping
Yeah.
agency.
Yeah.
Their rules dictates that she should be suspended from the competition for at least 1 month. If I recall, John, she also she was eligible to run in the relay, and they banned her from that too. Am I correct?
That is correct. So her 1 month suspension would have actually ended prior to the relays being run, and
So
so
this had nothing to do with this. Wasn't about her smoking the weed. They just want to get rid of her. Then they want to set a
yeah,
precedent.
just a lot of politics, man, and and a lot of people, and yeah, it's just politics, man. That's really what it boiled down to, and who should be on the Olympic team, who should travel,
There
who
you
should
let's
represent,
let's speak it. Let's
and
speak the truth. Speak the truth. As someone who bemoans the use of drugs, and I did 30 years, 30 proud years in the armed forces, and I don't like drugs, whether legal or illicit drugs. I do not like it. But I think Miss Richardson and other athletes professional athletes who use cannabis should be allowed to compete. Heck, I do not think professional athletes should undergo drug testing in the first place. The U.S. Olympic Committee should exercise its considerable considerable influence. Okay, and it has a whole lot, and it should have weed removed from the World Anti. Thank you. The proper name is World Anti-Doping Agency's list of prohibited substances. I think they should remove it from it. What do you think?
I'll say this. I totally agree with you. And if anything, I wouldn't say that cannabis is performance enhancing. If
Thank
anything,
you. Ooh, I'm
yeah,
glad
if
you touched that.
anything, I don't I don't
We're gonna
think
touch that next week.
we're not talking steroids, and so I really don't think that it's anything that would enhance your performance. But so if anything, I think it could have a negative impact on your performance. So the fact that she's getting in trouble for something that is legal and has become legal all over the world in a lot of places um, is unfortunate, especially since it's not performance enhancing. And so she's not getting any leg up, any benefit, because that's the whole point of these drugs and and different substances that the athletes are not able to use. And so most of it is all based on what performance enhancing. And so if this is not performance enhancing, just let it ride.
It's interesting. It's sad, and especially since she said she used it. She was upfront. She said she used it to deal with her mother's recent passing, which that is no excuse.
Yeah.
But she was honest with it. And just getting a text here, the USA team had some weird rules, and apparently the failed test canceled out their trial's performance. Not to mention, and for the record, let me just say, because I'm getting all these texts from people saying, "Am I on cannabis now?" Look, I don't even take Tylenol. I've never taken an aspirin. So for the record, this is the most medicine. Anyone who knows me know I don't do drugs. Okay. No, I'm just high on water right now. But this is a topic I feel very strongly about, John, and we're going to be talking about this in the coming weeks, because let's not talk about, go back and talk about what's a young man, the former swimmer?
Michael Phelps.
Phelps. There's so many other cases that we can talk about, but I feel they should have that. Okay, all right, we'll talk about that later on. Thank you. I feel that they hate that we are such winners in competition. That's why they banned her from the relay, even though it's outside the 30 days. Good point. See, someone from Oregon wrote us that. That's good. Oh, Oregon. Wow. So add one more state to the list, Daryl. Folks from Oregon sending stuff in. That's good. Anyway, Brother John, what's the latest I'm hearing about Mr. What's the former vice president's name? The one who just left? Mike Pence. Mike Pence. He lost his serial after a new book revealed that his fight with President Trump. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah. It's definitely and it's something that President Trump has denied the report. in regarding to, in a forthcoming book about a blow up that happened in 2018.
Okay.
Over his hiring of the former campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski. So, yeah, it's, Trump is saying that account is false, and and there's no accuracy to the account. So it's, that's his story, and that's the story that he's sticking to. And so I do know that it's
so the president said there's no veracity to the account.
That is true. That's what he said.
Okay, what's new? Anyway, so what's the latest on the disaster efforts? I spoke to a friend of mine earlier today. He retired from the fire service, and it was sad, man. He said that every day we have about 30 firefighters from Palm Beach County who go down. Each agency, I think, sends 3 firefighters to help in this effort, and it's very traumatic for them. He said, when you look at the bodies that they're finding right now, some are just they can't deal with it. They're passing out. So he solicits your prayer for them. So sad. Very, very. Daryl, I saw we're in your hamlet down there in South Florida, your hamlet of Delray Beach, that they share a lot of similarities with Surfside. First, we have the assistant city manager, I think, who worked there, and apparently some buildings in Delray are falling apart. You know anything about that, John?
Yeah, I'll say I think the recent tragedy at Surfside, and still my prayers and well wishes goes out to the families that are unfortunately having to bury a loved one and deal with that loss, and also the residents that, although they didn't lose their life, they lost a lot of personal property.
Right.
And so so I think it's caused a bunch of city managers and different people in South Florida and all around this area just to look a little bit closer. And so in Delray, for instance, there's residents that are concerned. They're concerned about the condition of some of their building complexes, within the complex. And they were saying that they've noticed construction crews have placed jack stands in certain buildings throughout the complex, propping up the structure in some places. And then one couple was on TV saying that they've placed multiple calls to their landlord and to the city about deep cracks and other issues. So I think in general, we're becoming more aware of our surroundings. I've, even looked at my building where I live in Fort Lauderdale a little bit closer, just to see what the structure was and
Right.
how I feel about my safety. And so, although these jack poles appeared recently, the city of Delray has been pushing the condo association to make the necessary repairs for months. And so it's obvious that people are looking and starting to notice things that people noticed, in Surfside, but didn't think anything of it, or didn't think that the whole building would come down. I don't think anyone, predicted or projected that the whole building would come down. And so now anything that looks out of place, doesn't
Right.
look like it's where it should be, it's, people are bound to question it, and I don't blame them. I mean, it's
Rightfully
something
so.
that, the living arrangements and where we dwell and where we feel safe at, we want to make sure that we can sleep through the night and we don't have to, experience something similar to Surfside.
And let's face it, man, that is so important. It's sad since it's just sad. I still can't imagine. These people went to sleep, and
Yeah.
just throughout the night you hear a rumbling.
And
before
the
you know it.
timing was
Yeah.
awful. I mean, maybe if it was at, noon or 1 o'clock, a lot
Right.
of people are at work or something like that. But I mean, it's at night. I think we all, for the most part, are in our beds, especially the timing of it. And it's a real unfortunate situation. But, hopefully that wakes up, construction workers, condo association, and the necessary repairs that they might have wanted to hold off for, a couple of months, weeks from now, they go ahead and make those repairs, because, and then even, in the communities around Surfside, you've had people that, that have felt uncomfortable in their buildings, and so they've moved to different hotels and that kind of thing.
Yeah, John, I was going to ask you about Coco. Coco heading up the Olympic team since Serena and a few others dropped out. But I was just told that my little man J-Man is on. So Neil, why don't you bring him in? Bring him on. Oh my God, J-Man, what's happening? What's going on? They sent me this mask and told me this is your favorite mask. Let me just make sure. How's it going, man? J-Man, what's going on?
Good.
You sure?
Yeah.
Were you at camp today? Let me take this off. Let me take this off. Maybe. Let me see. Can you see me now?
Yes.
So how are you, sir? How are you?
Good.
How was camp today?
Good.
What was so good about it? Now, Jaleel, how old are you these days?
What?
You're 4?
What you say?
I said, how old are you these days?
5.
You're 5. Okay. And where do you go to school?
Wait, y'all?
Where?
In summer camp.
Oh, you go to school in summer camp. Okay, good. Well, what are some of the cool things you're doing in summer camp? What do you like about summer camp, or do you like summer camp?
I like summer camp.
I don't sound like someone who really likes summer camp, Mr. John. No, do you enjoy? Tell you what? Do you like school? Do you like school?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So are you enjoying summer camp?
Yes.
What are you enjoying? What do you enjoy most about summer camp? What do you enjoy? What do you just love about summer camp? The food?
Yes.
And what else have you been doing? What else have you been doing in summer camp?
I was playing chess.
You play what?
Chess.
Chess. What is that? What's chess? Jaleel, you want to play games now, huh? You want to play. Okay, what else have you done in summer camp? I didn't hear you.
What?
You did what?
What?
You walk. What was you heard that, John? You walked? What'd you walk to?
I said I walked.
You what? You what? What's what?
I did not say that.
Well, what did you say? You said you what? Well, tell me what you said. What'd you say?
I worked.
Oh, you worked. Worked. Where'd you worked? Where'd you worked? So, J-Man, I heard you've been doing a lot of push-ups in camp. Is that true?
Yes.
Excuse me?
Yes, sir.
Why you been doing push-up? Who have you doing push-up?
Yes.
Why you been doing push-ups?
Because I was being bad.
All right. Now, I heard you know how to say the affirmation. Do you know it?
Yes.
Okay. Can you just impress me? Impress me.
I was watching the teachers.
What was that?
I was watching the teachers.
You were watching the teachers.
Yes.
You were watching them do what?
I was watching them
Oh, you're watching the TV. See, you shouldn't be watching them. You should be paying attention to me because you're on a delay. There's what's called a delay, okay?
No, I was not watching TV yet. I was only watching it when. Oh yeah, and you still did not send me the time.
I didn't send you the time.
No.
What are you talking about? Ask Miss Jasmine. Miss Jasmine or Miss Jat.
Forgot to give me the time to be on TV.
Miss Jasmine should have done that, and Miss Delina should have done that.
Oh, I saw Miss Delina on the phone.
You thought Miss Delina on the phone? Okay. I tell you what, I'll do some push-ups for you on Monday. How about that? Is that cool? Look, why don't you say the affirmation? I heard you saying the affirmation earlier. That was pretty cool.
Okay.
Can you say for us?
Yes.
All right. Be bold, be brave, and speak up now. Let me hear it.
I will go to college. I will succeed. This is my promise. This is my creed.
Are you asleep?
No!
It sounded like you were asleep.
Not.
Now let me hear Jaleel, who's awake. There you go. Let me hear that Jaleel. J-Man. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for J-Man. Go ahead, man.
I will go to college. I will succeed. This is my promise. This is my creed.
All right. Look, I am not too impressed with that, but go ahead and say one more time for Mr. Neal.
Okay. I will go to college. I will succeed. This is my promise. This is my creed.
All right. Do you believe in that, Jaleel? Do you believe in that? You don't? Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Brother John, listen to this now. Check out the transition. We got to do a transition because a lot of people think this is the end of the show. Hold up, folks. Don't leave yet.
And good night, Mrs. Calabash.
Wherever you are. And don't you leave because the best is yet to come. Stay tuned for my man, Mr. Shamari, and Miss Dina herself. Hey, Mari, what's happening, Mari Chicken?
What's up?
What's going on?
Nothing much.
Good. Who do we have on tonight, Dina? Who's the guest tonight?
All right. Something to be excited about. We have the author herself, Catrice Stokes.
Okay, well, who's Miss Stokes? Oh, Miss Stokes, before you get started, I just found out that you and I have a mutual friend in common. One of my own sons. You know him, Mr. Brisley.
Yes.
How do you know Brisley?
He is my fiance.
He's your what?
My fiance.
That's all right. Well, we're so happy to have you.
Thank you. We met in Syracuse.
Oh, you did? So you're a Syracuse girl too, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so you're the one. Okay, he told me about it. You're the one who, when he was playing football, you were working in the cafeteria or somewhere, and something about the cafeteria. He told me about this girl who worked in the cafeteria. Was that you?
I was working in the kitchen that he was eating. Well, they served the football players at, yes.
So because you wanted to get close to him, you got a job in the kitchen. Okay, he told me about it.
No, we also had a class together. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was not paying any attention to any of the football players.
To the teacher. You weren't paying attention to the teacher. That's all right.
Yes.
Well, it was so great to have you on the show tonight, and all the best to you and Mr. Brisley. And when are you guys going to tie the knot?
Next April.
Next April. All right. Well, hopefully I'll see you in person before April next year.
Yes.
All right.
We'll make
Dina,
that
you
happen.
guys, sounds good. You guys have a good show. Take care now.
Always great
You too.
connections on Creamy Conversations.
Yeah.
Well, for the last 9 weeks, we've been hearing from 16 ladies and 1 gentleman, Daryl, who have the distinction of being authors or novelists. Tonight, let's continue the tradition by introducing you to a young lady who always thought that her dreams were too big for reality. And she desperately wants to show the world that she's a creator as well as to contribute to the differences that we need to make in society as a whole. And it wasn't until the pandemic that Katri Stokes realized that she was wasting time doing something that she did not love. It was then that she decided to dedicate her life moving forward to her dreams. That, I think, is something bold and incredible. Ms. Stokes has chronicled her story into a book, and tonight she's here to share the story with us. Can't wait for more, Ms. Stokes. Thank you so much for being with us. So let's get straight to the heart. I really want to know what inspired this book called Innocence Gone.
Okay, so growing up, I witnessed and seen a lot of women like myself going through some very hard situations. A lot of these situations was shown in various different forms of abuse. Sometimes these situations were with loved ones, family members, strangers, and I felt it was important for the world to know that women really do go through these situations, and though they don't really discuss it, it's happening all around us. So that's what inspired me, and I felt it was very important for our communities to be aware of these particular situations.
Wow, and that's something I think like we can all learn from. What situations specifically, if you could specify?
Okay, so I'll pull some from my book. Let's see. So, for instance, one of my chapters elaborates on a kind of encounter that one of the girls had with a family member. It was kind of sexual in a sense, but she did not know how to tell her family, and she wasn't sure if she should. So just something so small like that, just trying to shine light on that specific situation and show the world that you will never know that this is happening in your household. And just to be aware and to pay a little more attention to your family members, such as your sisters, your cousins, your aunts, and even for the males. This happens to a lot of men too. So situations like that, it's a lot of them. My chapter derives on 11 different type of situations. So that's just one. I'll let the viewers purchase the book so they can look at the rest of the situations.
Definitely. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
The book chronicles the journey experience of 11 women who suffer immense trauma that changed their lives forever. Why was it so important for you to shed light on their challenges?
Yes, so just adding more on to trying to show the world what women go through. I want my book to spark conversations. And since the release of my book, I had a lot of people come to me like, wow, I probably need to sit my daughter down and have a conversation with her. Or, wow, maybe when I have the talk with my son, maybe it shouldn't just be about certain like protection or anything, but how to really respect a woman, you know? So I want people to read this, and I want them to open their eyes and step outside the box of when it comes to women. And, you know, women are also victimized, and sometimes we're even blamed for these situations, and it's not always that way. And that's what I want people to take away.
Wow, I'm getting emotional. Thank you so much for even like sharing that, because these things do happen. And wow, it's incredible that you're dedicating your life to bringing these stories to life and to serve as conversation starters. The title of the book specifically is Innocence Gone. How did you come up with that title? What does it mean specifically, Innocence Gone?
Okay, so I actually, from 2014 to 2020, my book was Innocence. I started this project years ago, and I just wanted to talk about the innocence of women. But someone brought it to my attention one day and was like, okay, so yes, you're talking about the innocence of women, but in your story, some of their innocence is taken away. And at that point, the innocence is gone. So that's what helped develop my title as Innocence Gone, you know, trying to also create that suspense that's necessary and hopefully draw people's attention into the book and want to learn more about it.
Yes, I would ask you what innocence, but I think we'll have to read the book to get what innocence is gone.
Yeah.
How challenging was it to write this book?
So it was quite challenging to choose which situations to talk about. There's hundreds of situations that women go through, and I wanted to select the ones that I felt I could actually draw on, like I can actually elaborate on and create and develop a story on, and a lot of people to be able to interact with that story. So it was very hard trying to select which ones I wanted to talk about. But once I figured out what situation I wanted to talk about, it was not that difficult for me to develop the story around it. I'm a creator, so it was so exciting. So that was the only challenging part, is just trying to select these situations.
Oh yes, talking about situations and you as a creator, what was the most exciting part, or the part of the book that you wish that people will read or will kind of like spark your interest the most when you're writing it, you know?
Okay. I don't think there's one specific chapter that I'm excited for people to read. I just think some of the chapters are very intense. So I wait to hear people's feedback about the intense chapters, because like I said, a lot of these stories are not real. They're real stories to a lot of women around us. And I want to hear people's feedback about these very intense chapters. So that's what I'm excited to hear about, like what their opinion was about that chapter, and what feedback do they want to provide me or give me about those specific chapters.
Wow. Okay. I get it. Wait, so how was the writing process, like combining the two, like 11 different stories, actually putting them in order, in sequence that goes like in a way that they go well, you know, it flows well. How was that process?
Yes. So let me think. So I wanted to start off with a story that is not as intense as the rest in the book. I have all the girls age from 6 to college age. So the first chapter is a 6-year-old girl and a situation that happened to her. And that I wanted people to draw in, like, okay, this happens to a 6-year-old. I can't wait to see, or I wonder what will happen to the rest of the girls. And then throughout the rest of the book, I spaced out the very intense chapters, and then I end the book with the most intense story. Well, in my opinion, what I believe is the most intense story. So I wanted to start off not as intense, and then I end with the most intense. So, yeah.
How does the future look for you?
Well, before I published this book, I never thought about writing more. But for some reason, after you publish your first book, you get in that mood and you're just like, okay, yes, I think I want to write another book. And honestly, after getting the feedback from the book, I think I want to take each chapter and develop them into their own book, elaborate more on the girl's story, their background, upbringing, and what happened to them after they encountered these situations and how it affected them in the long run. And down the road, I honestly want to turn these into miniseries. So I'm hoping that my writing will turn into something bigger in my future.
Can we expect? Oh, sorry. Can we expect to see a sequel or even writing more books?
Yes. Now, yes, 100%.
Wow, definitely. Since there are so many intense chapters in the book, and of course, these are experiences that women and also men experience in real life. Are there moments of light that or comic relief in the book where, as you read, you kind of like get a sense of hope, maybe?
Let's see. There are some chapters where the women are able to move past the situation. Like I said, a lot of them are pretty intense, but you're able to see some of the women like, okay, walk away from a situation. And that's why I also want to develop more books because yes, these women walk away, but are they really over it? So though some of these chapters are left open with that question, and I know a lot of people want those answers. So you can find some hope in some of these chapters, 100%, but it's open-ended, and I like to leave it up to the readers for them to imagine what they want to happen or what they see happening next.
Wow, I definitely love that. I love an open-ended book where you can actually the reader can imagine whatever they want for the character. That's
right.
Neat. What do you hope that readers will take away from reading this book? There are a lot of takeaways. So.
Yes. So, like I said before, I hope they start these conversations, and I want them to be able to go through life and acknowledging that women do go through these particular situations and don't really talk about it. And for women who read this book and can relate to some of these stories, I want them to know that this may be your story. And if you don't talk about it and if you don't tell anyone, it's okay. And even if you feel your story is too big or too small to tell the world, it matters to someone else out there, that there's others that can relate. So I'm hoping they read this book and it provides them some comfort in acknowledging that they're not alone.
Wow, they're not alone. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, for doing that.
You're welcome.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, where can people find the book? That's the question of the night.
Yes, so my book is available at Amazon right now, or on Amazon, and it's available online at Barnes & Noble. You can purchase the ebook at Barnes & Noble or Kindle, or you can publish the actual physical copy from Amazon and Barnes & Noble as well.
Well, Miss Stokes, it was an honor to have you here with us tonight. And thank you so much for bringing these stories to light, because I'm sure that a lot of people will be able to relate with these stories and see that they're not alone in your characters. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yes, and thank you for having me.
All right. You have it, Shamari. That will about do it for this week's edition of Community Conversation.
All right. That will about do it for this week's edition of Community Conversation. We hope you learned something tonight that will make a significant impact on your life this year.
And young people, there is no greater investment that you can make on a Friday night than being with like-minded peeps on Community Conversations. And thank you to all of our guests for enlightening us. Thank you so much. You make this show possible. To our sponsors for keeping us going. And a big sincere shout out to the Boca Raton Tribune for simulcasting us on Facebook and YouTube. As we wrap up tonight's session, we leave you with this message.
A mask can say a lot about the person who wears it. But even more about the person who doesn't.
And remember, the elected leaders may have lifted the mask requirements, but we're still not out of the woods yet. So please continue to use common sense, wash your hands, use hand sanitizers, practice social distancing, and wear your mask to keep everyone safe.
Information.
Have a safe weekend.
Information. If it exists in writing, we print it. If it exists online, we update it. If it exists on mobile, we notify. If it exists in video, we show it. If it exists in audio, we play it. In the past, the news had to wait for a paper to print for it to happen. Today, news happens in real time. It's analyzed, edited, and published immediately by us, your neighbors, and of course, you. Wherever you are, you write, edit, give opinions, share photos, and make the news happen. This is why a paper needs to be on print, on screen, and on your phone. Wherever you are, your news has its pulse in the community. The Boca Raton Tribune. We are much more than just a newspaper. We are your closest neighbor.